Was that pretty much the end of Guy after that?
No, it wasn't the end of Guy.
Well, because the problems with Gene Griffin started after that?
Yeah, but what happened was the tour ended, and we just basically went home. I went back to work and produce. Guys went home and had to figure out what we're gonna do. And I don't know if it was Al Hammond or another promoter who actually offered us another tour with just Guy. And we wound up doing that tour. But I think at this point, I went back home to it. I think I was in Georgia. I was living in Georgia, and Gene was living in Georgia. And Aaron and Damien had 2 houses that Gene had bought for them. Wound up that these houses wasn't paid for. We were squatting.
Wow, okay.
And I'm in this big, huge house, and I'm buying furniture. And this is the altercation with Gene and me wound up just saying, no, not me wound up saying, my mother wound up saying, you need to get away from this guy. She said, he's the devil, he's this, and if you're gonna stay with him, I'm going back to the projects. And I said, no, you're not. I'm not staying.
Well, yeah, I mean, Aaron Hall in an interview said, there came a time where I just did not want to sing a single note. To be honest, it was the money. It just became too depressing. We were the biggest group in the world, and we were flat broke. It took its toll.
He was broke.
You weren't broke. But you were producing a bunch of other
I was producing. I had another job. We didn't make no money with Guy.
That's the point, yeah.
Aaron thought it was me, and I'm just going to keep it 100. Aaron thought I was a part of Gene and taking the money. And Damien thought, I think he had thoughts of that as well. And I just said to myself, I can't do nothing about that. The truth will come to light. You know, the truth just came to light not a few years ago when they finally knew we wasn't getting paid. We wasn't getting royalties. Gene was getting the royalties, and he wasn't distributed to us. And by that time, Gene is gone. He passed away.
Oh.
But a lot of the money, and then it was a lot of crooked stuff that went on with Gene. And I felt like I did the right thing, even though I didn't know all the stuff he was doing until Frank Kemp, who was the road manager, who kicked the guy off the stage, he finally came to me and said, I need to talk to you. And he sat me down. He said, this is what Gene is doing to all of you. Gene did this, that. He just laid everything on the table, and I had to figure out my exit. And it took me 8 months. He told us this prior to the tour. So he said, you know, just stick with me. And I stuck with Frank and until he started extorting me.
Really?
Yeah. He used to come up to the studio, you know, and try to come get money and different things like that. And I couldn't take it anymore. And actually, my guys was, you know, we had, you know, some people come together and, you know, they were going to do something to him because this dude would always show up, you know, trying to extort. And I would never give in. So I, you know, kind of feared that something would happen. So I had to, you know, put my people together to load up. You know, when that all happened, Alpo and some of his guys came to me saying, you want us to do something to Gene. And
really?
And
okay.
And Rich
Porter.
Rich and I went to high school. We were like that was like my big homie. And when I spoke to Rich was like, yo, shorty, don't worry about it. Keep doing your music. You know, we can either handle it or, you know, you let it go, but trust me, ain't nobody gonna mess with you. And that's what Rich told me. And then I was out in California, and Alpo had met with my brother because Alpo was trying to get in the music business. And he put a briefcase in my car because I gave my brother my car while I was in California. And he put a briefcase in my brother's car, in my car. And my brother was like, yo, my brother he ain't coming back for a little while. He's gonna be in California. They out there making the record. So he gave him back the briefcase.
What was the briefcase?
It was a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it was a briefcase of money. And then, but my true friend was Rich and AZ. And I met LA, who was actually one of their guys who got killed first. And he used to come to the rooftop, and Rich used to come to the rooftop, and Rich would, you know, even in school, he was like, yo, you need money, you need anything? Because they wanted me to stay off the streets. They knew I did music. Same thing with Alpo. He was like, they knew I did music. They didn't want me on the streets because I was hustling. Mm-hmm. And also another friend of mine, Whitey, Donald, they kept me off the streets. And they said, if you come on the street, and actually my crew kicked me off the streets. So with that being said, getting to that part where I had to confront Gene about all of this stuff, because what made us do it, me and my mom, because we moved to Atlanta. We didn't know nothing about, you know, where to go to shop and different things like for furniture. So we in furniture, I got a credit card, and the credit card's on the GR Productions. I'm using the credit card, next thing you know, it declines. So I'm calling Gene. I was like, yo, we at the furniture store. And he was like, man, how much you spending? I was like, it's only like maybe 1,000, 1,200 on this. We need to get a couch and dining room table and all of this stuff. And that's when my mother blew up. My mother was like, you made all this money for this company. And you probably don't even know how much money you made. And when Kemp disclosed that to me, I'm working on Boy George, I'm working on this artist, and he's getting all of these remixes, and we ain't getting nothing less than 50,000, but I'm only getting 10,000. 10,000 for this. We went to do Boy George. I didn't know we were making $200,000 a song.
Damn.
That was the biggest week for Gene.
Because he was taking everything.
For G, not R. It was GR Production, but it was the biggest week for Gene because I only made 40,000.
Of 200.
Of 800,000.
800.
We did 4 songs.
Oh, shit. Damn.
We did it for Version. Version Records paid us that much. Gene, the deal maker, the go-getter, and the closer. But we found that out from Kemp. We found out a lot of stuff from Kemp.